Hello guys, my 2011 Sienna is pushing 160,000 miles. So while I was doing the oil change, that whole mess right here, I decided it would be actually a nice time to go through it and address, a few issues and maybe just do some preventative maintenance. And what's immediately caught my mind is this boot that is leaking again. You can see all the grease from the boot is pretty much flying around. And if you didn't see my previous videos, I think this is the boot number 3 at least on this right side of the car. I always purchase the original boots from Toyota, and for some reason, I have no idea why, the right side doesn't hold. No problems with the left side ever. Maybe I replaced it once as the preventative maintenance a few years ago, but it never gave me any problems. It's clean, it's dry here. This, on the other hand, it usually have like 1 maybe 2 years of useful life until it rips. Have no idea why, but regardless, I need to address it. What I noticed as well, the cooling lines, you cannot see it, it's like the congregation of lines that goes from the engine to the rear heater and to the front heater in the cabin. They are pushing like 15 years, so I went ahead and purchased this it's just a one part. When you go and check the website, this is just one part, despite it has like, I guess, 6 independent hoses. And so I purchased the coolant, I purchased the transmission fluid just to do like quick dirty spill and fill, all original. I purchased 6 spark plugs. I purchased the axle nut because the axle nut is one-time use. I purchased few gaskets, like for the transmission, for the engine oil, because this is those are the gaskets for the air intake, because when I'm gonna be replacing the spark plugs, you need to remove the air intake, so obviously new gaskets goes there. And this is the boot kit. It includes inner and outer boot for Sienna, and this is the part number. It's quite an expensive piece for those 2 boots and the grease and the clamps. $140 was my price from Toyota, and so it's gonna be, I think, number 4 replacement for the right axle. The axle doing just fine. It doesn't grind, it doesn't make any noise. It's just only the boots that are, for some reason, doesn't hold up on the right side. I don't know why. So that's what's for now is on my schedule for Toyota. And I purchased 3 Denso coils. Why 3? It's because those are fairly expensive, and since I'm going to be replacing the spark plugs, I'm going to be removing the intake, I decided I'm going to put 3 new coils to the rear bank that is close to the cabin, because I can easily replace the front coils, but the rear bank I want to do it like once and for all, and I don't want to remove the air intake again. And that's the quick overlook of what I'm gonna be doing today, maybe tomorrow as well. I'm probably gonna start with the axle. Besides all of that, I got, I don't know, maybe questions to you guys. I replaced those brakes, the front brakes, 3 years ago. Those are the newish rotors, like 3 years old. The minimum thickness for those rotors, the specs are 25 millimeters. right now both of them are equal. Those are 28 millimeters. Little kind of concern for me is this brownish spots on both of them. Probably you can see it on your screens, and this one got the brownish spots, but this is only the inside, because if I will replay, actually I thought it's just the inside. It's a little less pronounced on the outside, but it's there. Maybe because the sun is more shinier today. This one is also a little brownish, but anyways, they're much more pronounced on the inner side. And those are the pads from 3 years ago. And Google tells me they are, despite the thickness is still great, they are glazed. They shouldn't be shiny. So the reason I was checking the brakes is the kind of humming noise on a low speed braking. Let's say, I don't know, 20 miles an hour and lower. And not always, it's sporadic. Sometimes it's very quiet, and sometimes it's very humming. It very reminds me like those big trucks on off-road tires when they drive over the asphalt. This is the noise those brakes are sometimes producing from the front, nothing from the rear. So I think the brake pads were junk, and they kinda overheated those rotors, creating those brownish spots. This is the first stage of overheating, if I'm not mistaken, like the brownish areas. Then if it's overheated even more, it's gonna turn into like the purplish blue color. So for now I'm thinking I'm gonna still stick with the same rotors. I'm probably gonna resurface the pads for now, because anyway, thickness is great. Like it's probably like 7-8 millimeters thick, so it's plenty of the useful life. I just don't like that they've been kind of glazed. They shouldn't be shiny at all. I don't know if you can see it. I used the Dremel to cut this nut lock, and I put some WD-40 here, and I'm gonna use the impact gun right now to undo this nut. Hopefully it's gonna work out. Hopefully I won't damage a lot of threads, because I know I did once. It was the pain. Hopefully this time it's gonna work smooth, because the previous times I did not use the Dremel to kind of cut the, you know, thing where it was kind of punched into this groove. I simply used kind of screwdriver and probably not undo this indent enough, and this axle was hurt slightly. Let's see how it's gonna work out this time. 30 millimeter nut, maybe from this side. Alright, looks like it's going, because you can see it, this thingy thing moved. Let me do it clockwise now, and then we're gonna do it counterclockwise again. Let's see. Yeah, the axle is not pretty, but it's not worse than the last time. If I'm not mistaken, I slightly looped the axle splines when I was installing it last time. So usually, yeah, it goes in and out just fine. So I'm gonna undo those 3 bolts. Then I'm gonna undo the clamp, this metal clamp for the inner boot, and then I'll be able to remove this axle. And I'm gonna have this pen because it's gonna be very messy and dirty job right there. This grease is like everywhere. Okay, so time to undo the clamp. I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to see anything, but here's the clamp, here's the screwdriver. Oh. Clamp is undone, and before you throw it away, make sure to read the clamp size. It should be written 102.5 because there are 3 clamps and all of them are different size. 102.5. Okay, clamp is removed, so I'll try to, let's see if the boot is easily could be taken out. So let me see. What does it take to remove the axle? There you go. The grease from the inner CV joint should be coming everywhere. All right, not so bad. So yeah, there is one axle. Okay, I put it in a vise. Let's see if we can remove this stopper ring. Usually it's not really hard to do. Not a good screwdriver. Let's check, maybe this one's gonna work better. Don't recall how I did it last time. All right, this ring is almost out. There we go. 2 screwdrivers. Now for this part we need to drive this triangle thingy of the axle, and I'm gonna be using the air hammer. Nothing else worked for me in the past, and I believe nothing's gonna work right now. So let me see which one of those attachments. I think this attachment should work just fine. It's all so greasy in here. Okay, let's see. Let's try to drive it out. changed the head or the tool on the hammer. Alright guys, we are halfway there. Oh. Okay, I'm gonna undo this clamp, memorize the number. Let's check it out. And the number is 39, looks like. Okay, yes, that's 39 then. Now I can remove the boot and clean the axle from this side. Alright, this is the outer boot, and the outer clamp for the outer boot is 99.5, and the inner clamp for the outer boot is 34. So you need to memorize those clamp dimensions just to make sure you install them in the exact same, you install the exact same clamps. This one is pretty thick. Almost there. Come on. Almost there. All right. Let me try to cut it. Not the best cutters in the world. All right. 34 millimeters. Now we can try to get the boot off. Interesting how many grease left inside, if any. Practically none. So this is the new outer boot, and I'm not sure if you're gonna see it. Inside the boot there is like an indentation, like a circle from both sides, from this side and from that side. Probably you can see it better from that side. Like little circle inside, you can feel it. So those circles gonna go to the corresponding spots in the right here. So this is the little circle for the inner part, and so this is the kind of circle right here for the outer part. So pretty much you know when the boot is in place once it's gonna kind of click onto the proper spot. So I'm gonna go ahead. Yeah, I cleaned. Let's clean it one more time. I cleaned this axle, and it's pretty much ready for the outer boot. Those mating surfaces supposed to be free of grease. And let's try to very carefully install this boot. All right. Very carefully. Let me put it back in the vise. Use the towel to protect it. Alright. It's just locked in the place, so it won't go up and down because this circle kind of clicked into this indentation. So right now it's a good time to put this lower clamp in. Generally speaking, the clamps differs not only the circumference but only the width. So a 99.9 clamp, which is for the outer boot, is wider than the clamp for the inner boot, the larger clamps. So it's kind of easy to tell which one is which without even memorizing the numbers. That's in regards to the big clamps. There are 3 smaller clamps. Again, the one that is wider, you can see it's like noticeably wider, is for the outer boot. But those 2 little ones, the difference is just half, not even half, 0.2 millimeters, 38.8 and 39 millimeters. They are they are almost identical, but one of them goes for the inner boot, outer side, and the other one is not used on the right axle. It's only used on the left axle, whereas there is like a rubber balancer on the boot, or damper, I would say. It's just reducing the vibration during the high speed. So make sure to you can see it slightly differs in the shape. Maybe this one is kind of flat, and this one got kind of indentations on the sides. If you can see it, I'm not sure if GoPro can pick it up. I'm pretty sure 39 millimeter was the right clamp for the inner boot, outer. Yeah, you got what I'm saying. So I'm gonna install this smaller ring first, again making sure the boot is in the proper kind of position so it doesn't move back and forth. I mean, like that. So the ring is installed, the clamp and you want to make sure that the sitting position for the boot is clean, free of grease, because if it's not, if there is like the residual of the old grease, it actually may kind of leak. So yeah, that's the tool to clamp the clamp to tighten the clamp. Just like that. I think it's fairly tight. There are a couple holes here. You can use the kind of couple breaker bars and use them as the leverage, but I think I got it pretty tight. So there are two types of grease coming with this kit, black one and this kind of brownish one. One is thicker, one is thinner, and pretty much the rule of thumb is thinner goes to inner. So for the outer boot I'm gonna be using the thicker grease, and for the inner boot I'm gonna be using thinner grease. I put this grease, the thinner grease, in the fridge because right now, let's say the outer boot is quite easy to do when it's in a vise. I can dump it in the boot, just to make it more even simple. I can position CV axle like that. I can dump it right here in the hole in the boot and pretty much then close it. But when it's in a car, when you install the axle inside the car, it's already horizontal position, and if you're gonna be putting this thin grease right there already in the car, it's kind of tricky and it may spill pretty much. So I'm trying to make it as thick as possible by putting it in a freezer, and it should help me. Maybe I'm gonna even pre-install some grease in the boot right here in the vise, and because it's becoming kind of thick when it's like really cold, it may help me to eliminate a lot of mess. I never tried it before. I'm gonna just got the idea in my head that it may help. It goes back to freezer. So right now I need to cut the angle. We'll see if it's gonna be enough of the hole. Let's try to spread some in. It's not really convenient to have them in this bag, kinda. Alright, let me rotate the axle slightly, and I'm gonna reposition so. And again, if possible, you would like to avoid getting this grease on the contact surface between this boot and the CV axle. And don't forget, we got 2 bags of that grease. One bag is already more than what I had when I disassembled the turned boot. It's already an improvement. Yeah, they could put it like in a syringe kind of container. Those bags really not that convenient. Alright, time for the second bag, I guess. And it's already like almost full, to be honest. I'm not sure how much is gonna fit. It's not that much grease in the each bag, to be honest, as well. Okay. Let's a little bit reposition. I got some more space in here. I think this is more than enough, to be honest. And I'll try to clean this mating surface as good as possible. I'm pretty sure it's impossible to do 100%. Okay, the boot is now in the position Alright, now it's time for a thicker thingy thing. Okay, and actually I would like to point it for some reason the same way as the little one. Okay. Okay, position same way. it's important to make sure it's sitting in the groove all the way around, and it is. I'm gonna clamp it. Yeah. All right, they pointed the same way. That's my thing for some reason. I don't know. I'm not sure about the bigger one. I probably would like to use some more torque. I don't know yet. I'll see. Whew. All right, got a couple breaker bars. Let's see if it's gonna. Just a little bit. That's it. Should be enough. All right, we're halfway there. So now what we have to do is not to forget to put the 39mm clamp, same orientation. Now we're gonna put the rubber foot, rubber boot. Interestingly enough, the inner boot is the rubber, the outer boot is kind of plastic. All right, so the rubber portion is in the groove, of course. And let me make sure it's clean. Come on, hold on. Let me see the grooves. Okay, got it. Okay, same orientation. So this clamp is thinner. It should be much easier to clamp. Don't go crazy with this one because it's rubber and it's gonna spread the rubber. So yeah, just enough is enough. All right, and now what we're gonna do now? We can do the bearings, or we can put some grease inside and then we can do bearings. Maybe that's gonna be even better. Okay, the thinner grease became thicker because it's really cold. Okay, so partially we put a little bit of grease in the boot, and I'm gonna put it back in the freezer for a time being. Don't tell my wife. Okay, now we're gonna have to put the bearings in, and there is like the upper and lower portion. So this is the portion with the concave, I think it called, edge. It's gonna go on the axle. The flat edge, it's gonna stay on the top. I'm gonna use the air hammer again, and not to forget, almost did it wrong. We have the orientation now, because the boot is not all like circular, you see those thingy things, so we need to account for those. So you install the bearing, the mid plane of the bearing parallel to that thingy, or as parallel as possible. Yeah, I think that's good enough. Now a little air hammer action. I'm gonna change the tip. To the flat one. Don't forget to lube your air hammer. Couple drops of oil for pneumatic tools. Tighten the axle. Goes really easy. We'll try to take maybe this to protect, maybe even bigger. Let's see if this one gonna be better. Almost there. Just cannot get if the socket is wide enough to accept the axle. And yes, it is. Alright, now we can install this circlip. I don't recall if it was easy or not. Did I use the pliers for that? Oh, let's try the pliers. And actually, you know, I got a brand new clip. Why not to use that one? Almost there. All right, let's see if it sits all the way. Yep, it turns in the groove, meaning it sits just properly. So in the next step, I'm gonna put the new clamp somewhere here so we won't forget it, and we're gonna transition to the car portion, and I'm gonna put the remainder of the grease inside the the other part where the axle goes into, and hopefully it's gonna be just fine. It's hard for me to guess if you can see anything at all, but I'll try to squeeze the remaining portion inside this inner part of the axle. Let me rotate it as well. And again, their choice of containers for the grease is really not that great. One cannot see what I'm doing. I think around 85% of the grease is distributed. I think it should be more than enough, maybe more than 85, around 90. I'm gonna wipe the edge. I'm gonna wipe the edge. Okay, should be just fine. I'm gonna get the axle and we'll try to install it. It's also kind of a process. So the main thing is to position those bearings just right, otherwise they won't go inside this inner part. Ask me how I know. And sometimes it's really frustrating, and it's kind of should go and it doesn't at all. Sometimes you have to play it a little bit. Oh, yep, and it's just got in. I'm gonna, you cannot see it, but I'm gonna put the axle into the front hub so it's kind of sit in place. Oh. All right. Oh. Now I can okay, some additional light and that was the sound. So I just double checked that the boot is sitting properly. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna slide that clamp on, making sure they're all oriented in the same direction. And I'm gonna tighten it without using any additional tools, because again it's a rubber boot and you can over tighten it. Okay, a little squeeze. Now re-verify it sits in the, let me actually rotate it all the way, just make sure everything is where it's supposed to be. Yes, it is. Now the final torque. Nothing crazy. That's it. What I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna clean all that grease from everywhere. Not just to make it nice and shiny, but also it's gonna serve me as the indicator if this new boot gonna start to, you know, fail again. So yeah, that's that. I'm gonna probably leave it out of the camera, the whole cleaning process. Nothing fun in that. All right, half an hour of scrubbing and this area is somewhat clean. I still need to clean the caliper, but I'm gonna do it once it's gonna be here installed back in place. Same thing from the back. So except this part, I'm gonna do this part. Just didn't see it. Yeah, so this part, and then I'm gonna possibly I can install the axle right in place and clean this later. It's not bothering. All right, let's try to fit the axle inside. Okay, looks like it's coming through. I'm gonna put the new nut and let's start the new nut. So it's kind of sit inside and then think possibly wrong order of operation. Yes, I needed to feed the lower ball joint to meet the control arm first, and then feed the all right. What is problem? Come on, almost there. All right. All right. Take two. Okay, I'm gonna tighten it a little later. Just let's do the rough adjustments. Couple nuts. Too many ooga-doogas. Good. Now let's okay. Good for now. The final torque gonna be done when the wheel is gonna be on the ground. All right. What else? We need brake disc. And now we're gonna need the, you know what, I'm gonna clean this thingy so I don't need to revert back to that. Alright, I just cleaned this bracket, I looped the pins, and this is what I'm using for lubing. It's a silicone based, and this is important because one of the pins got the rubber ring on it, and if you're using wrong type of the grease, this rubber kind of o-ring may expand, and it's gonna seize this pin, so, and the brakes essentially gonna be damaging your pads. So I learned it hard way a few years ago, back in the days. So that's why I'm only using silicone based grease for the brake pins. At least I got very good luck with it. I cleaned the slider pins like those guys, so those should be all good. Okay, 17 mil. Okay, should be good enough. And every time I am installing the pads, I apply this stuff. It's CRC disc brake quiet. So you apply it and you wait for it to dry slightly, and it becomes like a rubbery. So it's pretty much the barrier between the working surface of the piston, or this part, so both sides, and it actually makes wonders. The brakes, if applied properly, the brakes are super quiet, never squeals. So that's a little secret. I just filled 6 quarts of oil, and now I got this empty jug. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut the top of the jug. Don't know how successful I'm gonna be with that, and I'm gonna drain roughly about 3 quarts of transmission fluid, maybe 4, maybe 3, we'll see how it goes. And that's why I didn't throw away this jug, so I'm gonna be monitoring how much I'm draining, and that's why I do have those 4 replacement quarts of automatic transmission fluid. So that should be pretty easy. The only thing I need to make sure that my fill bolt that I can undo it before I drain any of the fluid. I totally screwed up my plan of measuring how much transmission fluid gonna come out from the pan, because sorry guys, because I forgot that this transmission has the hidden like a plastic straw, if you will, that maintains the level of the fluid. So that means I'm gonna wait until this gonna drain, and then I'm gonna unscrew this like a plastic straw, and I'm gonna drain some more fluid. Okay, it's gonna be slightly messy, but let's see if so it's the same hex 6mm socket, to undo the plastic straw. This, and you can see, so this is the straw, so it maintains the level of the fluid. So without removal of the straw, I won't be able to drain as much fluid as I would like to. Alright, so it's barely dripping right now. I'm gonna install this plastic straw back. So So you simply screw it back in until it stops. There is no need to kind of tighten it. It's just when it stops, that means you're up to the level. Okay, it's just stopped. And now I'm gonna put the drain plug back in. So, and also, since there is a straw, it's not just the drain plug, it's a level check plug. So for now I'm gonna just slightly tighten it, and I'm gonna put let's say 4 liters of the transmission fluid through the fill plug, and then I won't yet check the fluid level because I would like to drain the coolant so we can replace the hoses, and I don't want this coolant to be hot. I am using this original Toyota WS transmission fluid, and like this, like a little hand pump. And I'm gonna put like 4 quarts. I thought it's 4 liters. No, it's 4 quarts of this fluid, and I'm gonna drain the excess later once we're gonna be checking the level, because transmission needs to be preheated to the certain temperature. There is like certain range for the proper level check. It's gonna be later once we're gonna be finished with the replacement of the coolant pipes, and hopefully we'll be able to purge the coolant and heat the transmission at the same time. We'll see. I put 4 quarts of fluid, and I'm gonna put the fill plug back in. I'm gonna tighten it because I think we won't need to add any more, so it's tight. I'm gonna spray some brake clean. Those 2 boots. All right, and I'm gonna put this cover back here because there is nothing else we need to do in this area anymore. So this cover is being held by one push clip. Oh, I press it too deep. Press it too deep. Just come on. Click. $10 mils here and 10 mils here. I'm gonna tighten those, and we'll proceed with the coolant drain. Talking about the coolant, it looks like I'm gonna have to disassemble the whole this aggregation of parts, intake, battery, probably battery tray, I don't know, maybe. And while I'm here, I'm thinking I'm gonna be halfway down to replace the spark plugs and coils, so I can, I think, combine those 2 jobs together. So let me start with disassembling all this, and we'll see how much space is gonna give us. Alright, looks like a bunch of tens. Let's begin with the battery disconnecting. Okay, so the battery itself. I'm gonna try to put all the bolts in the same holes. Okay, so there's like a little hook. You do not need to undo the whole thing. I'm gonna do the let me remove the battery. Let's see. Okay, let's try to undo the intake. I'm not sure why I'm not using power tools right now. I really don't. I'm gonna put the bolts back. Okay, the air box is gonna be a little more complicated than that. So one of the bolts here on the bottom. Okay. This one is slightly rusty. Let me grab an extension and maybe the power tool though. Okay. Okay, so we have quite a few clamps that holds the pipe for the intake. Let me see if they're gonna work or play ball with me. Good. All right, that works. Where do we have any other bolts? Let me check it out. I'm gonna remove the filter. no bolts inside. I thought maybe sometimes there could be the mounting bolts right there. Okay. Looks like that's the vacuum line. I didn't need to disconnect this one. However, I need to disconnect this one. It came out easy. It's possibly easier, since this one is all disconnectable, it's easier for me to remove the valve. Alright, how are we looking right now? One more connector. In the back. Okay, and I need to remove the clip. Okay, clip removed. Airbox. Oh, another one. How many vacuum lines in here? Hoo-wee. All right, so we have the access to this tube, one, to this tube, two, then yeah, we're gonna have to remove the intake to get the access to the connection where the pipes meets the firewall. And now I kind of can see the connections. Can you, or you can't? Right there, 1 and 2. Not really convenient, but once I'm gonna remove this intake, should be much easier. I'm gonna put a protection, because I would like to blow some air in here to clean the area before I remove the intake. Loud noise. I use this borescope to look behind the intake to find those two screws that holds the brackets that holds the intake. I undid a couple sensors. I removed the throttle body from the intake. I removed the ventilation, or I guess it's a PCV hose from the valve cover. I just removed 4 bolts and 2 nuts holding the intake. I don't recall if I need to remove those studs, or I'll be able to lift it and go around them. Let's okay. Looks like I need to undo the stud from different location. So I left the stud connected to the intake, but I did it from the engine. Looks like it's on the way, so I need to undo the not the stud but the bracket. I need to undo the bracket from the actual intake. I raised the car on a lift and I'm using the Pepcop to drain the most of the coolant that I can. So yeah, it's gonna take some time since it's kind of tiny. It drained not as much coolant as I was expecting, maybe a gallon and a half, around that, but maybe it's gonna be enough. So since we're already under the car, most likely I'm gonna attempt to undo those 2 hoses, this one and that one. I used 2 hose clamps. Hopefully you can see it right here, 1 and 2, kind of to block the coolant passage from the top to the bottom right here, and hopefully it's gonna slightly minimize the amount of spilled coolant. And now I'm gonna be using those pliers, and hopefully we'll remove those retainers or clamps. It's very hard to operate the camera at the same time, unfortunately. Let's see if I can maneuver my clamp pliers. No, I cannot. The camera is on the way actually. Okay, something like that. Number 1, and let's attempt number 2. All right, it's already a success. I'm gonna be using those hose pliers, and I also have the assortment of cap locks on standby because I don't know exactly what diameter is there, but I would like to plug both of them, the pipe and the hose, to avoid any unnecessary spillage of the coolant. And I definitely won't be able to juggle the camera and that and cap locks, so you guys gonna be unfortunate, you won't be able to see what's happening. Only few drops of coolant actually came down, and I was able to plug both the hoses and pipes, and at that point I'm gonna lower the car down and we're gonna complete the replacement from the top. So the replacement part comes as the kind of assembled piece, so it's better not to disassemble it to avoid the misconnecting those things, because the way it's been assembled you cannot kind of connect it improperly. It's simply not gonna work. So I'm gonna remove the whole thing and I'm gonna install the whole thing without separating those parts. So the replacement part comes without outer clamps, so I'm gonna have to reuse those. Let me remove the camera. I used it to find the brackets in the back of the intake. So let me unplug maybe this connector. I think it's a coolant temperature sensor, because I kind of don't want to accidentally break it, but looks like I can break it by unplugging it. Okay, I'll hold off for now. Okay, the first clamp released. Let's try the second. I'm not sure if you guys can see anything. The second clamp is released. Now let's get to the hose pliers and carefully work our way. Okay. The second hose, just little by little, no rush. We don't want to break any fittings, just a little massage for the hose. Okay, it's starting. All right, starting to move, and I'm gonna install those hose clamps to block the flow of the coolant in case there is any. Okay, let's install the small one in the bottom. Chunk, chunk, chunk. I wrapped it around the hose and clamping it down right now. I'm really not sure if there is any coolant inside or not, but simply to avoid any unnecessary mess, I elected to clamp the hose. Alright, it's clamped more or less, and if I'm not mistaken, it was size 17 for fitting and size 19 for the hose. Let's check this theory. The first one, I'm gonna install the coupler into the fitting. Oh, there is almost nothing, but I'm gonna install it anyways. And 19 into the hose, and now I'm gonna remove the clamp. . Okay, the clamp number, the hose number 2. Maybe there is nothing inside, I don't know, since we drained the coolant, maybe it was enough to sip the coolant from those hoses. So number 17 and 19 plugs again. It's gonna be 17 for the fitting. It's dry, there is nothing, but regardless, clamped or plugged everything. Okay. Oof. And now to the slightly more challenging ones, right back in there. Okay, so this is 160,000 miles hose assembly. You can now see those fittings in the condition of the T, and this is the brand new hose then, and this is the part number for the hose if you're gonna need to replace it yourself. I would like to begin the installation of the new hoses from the bottom. I think it's gonna be less messy. I don't think it should be messy at all, to be honest, but I think it should be less messy if we're gonna start it from the bottom. And I already went ahead and kind of cleaned those fittings. It's been clean. They're pretty good. So let me remove this plug. Hopefully it's not gonna spill too much. Okay. Carefully to massage. Okay, one, and then where is the second hose? I already made a mistake. That's the incorrect hose. Come on, guys, it's unacceptable. Oh, come on. Can you imagine the first hose and it's already incorrect one? Alright, hose number 1. Now I remove the plug from the second and connect the second hose. It was the epic fail. I just advised you how it's easy not to mix them up, and I did it from the beginning. It's funny. I'm not gonna install the clamps right now. Maybe I need to tweak the hoses after I install everything on the top. Alright, continuing the trend from going from the bottom to the top, I'm gonna remove the plug from the bottom pipe and install the bottom hose. Come on, yep, all the way in. Then the next one. Alright, then probably the bottom one from here. Finally, it's till the end. one more right here. Alright, let me verify they are all the way in, and I'm gonna install the clamps. I took the first spark plug out, and what I was pretty surprised to see that the gap is virtually same on the brand new one and on the used one. Of course, you can see like how used is being used. It's actually pretty healthy, but so those electrodes are not being eaten by, I don't know, 80,000 miles. Of course, it's just the first spark plug. I didn't check the other ones yet, but I am pretty impressed to see the gap, which is like virtually same. Maybe the new one may be even slightly bigger, which is insane. But the spark plug is yeah, it's Denso, whatever it is, FK20HR11, and they came in as like the original part from Toyota. Looks like design slightly changed for those years. Like this is 2011 with the metal, I think it looks like metal sleeve. This one, Denso, is all plastic, a little bit different design in this part and pretty much everywhere. So yeah, but yeah, regardless, hopefully it's gonna be working just fine as the original one. I'm gonna put some dielectric grease in here and I'm gonna install it right where it belongs. Okay, hopefully it's just gonna pop in just fine. All right, I'm gonna install this bolt. By the way, the spark plugs went with a 13 pound-inch yeah, 13 foot-pound torque. All right, it's gonna be a two-hand job. 13 foot-pounds. The crush washer has been crushed, that's why it's taken so long to achieve the proper torque. It's always first time like that with the spark plugs when they're new. Should be good enough. I'm gonna put 3 old coils in the front. The reason being, I mean, the budget is already quite big. I spent like 700 plus bucks. Apologies, 800 plus bucks, because 700 plus bucks was for the stuff without the coils, and then I purchased the coils, like 3 new coils, so it's pushing like 850, maybe even a little more. So the front coils should be staying for a little longer, but at least for now I am not planning to knock on wood, to remove the intake again anymore in my ownership of this vehicle. And yeah, I said that, knock on wood. All right, let's tighten those guys. In the back, all three connectors were intact. In the front, the middle connector is still fine. Two side connectors broke the clips, which is very common for Toyota. Now take a look on the spark plugs. Those are from the front bank that is closer to the radiator. Take a look on this, like a varnish around the crush washers and like the overall thread condition. I was struggling to undo those, while the ones in the back were almost like a hand tied. And again, this is for the rear bank of cylinders. Take a look how different the condition of the crush washers is, and the threads. It's just kind of little oily stuff on the threads, but I mean those are very consistent. So, and to make them like in perspective, take a look on the difference. And again, the whole front bank was kind of tight, and like not just to begin to undo them, the whole way until I removed them, it was pretty tight, while those I was pretty much doing with my fingers. I'm not sure, maybe like the front bank is like more hot comparing to the rear bank. That's interesting. I need to do some research to see what other owners been experiencing. I just installed those new gaskets for the intake, and this is the part number 17776-0P021. Mine, the original ones, it's not original, they are original ones, but I replaced them like 80,000 miles ago. They're still very rubbery, but if we're going in there, we need to put the new stuff regardless. I also removed those two studs. One was right here, one was right here, just to make it more simple to move this intake back in place without wiggling it too much, because I'm afraid those gaskets may come loose. Also, those two brackets, this one and this one, those are loose, because I need to make sure they gonna come nice and attach to those mounting points. So at this point I'm gonna probably mount the camera, and I'll try to install this intake without too many curse words. Alright, turn upside down and carefully let's try to move the most of the stuff away. No, it was different somehow. Hold on a second. Maybe like that. That's more like it. Oh. Cut the insulation. Okay, gaskets are still in place. Okay, very good. I'm gonna put those two studs on the side back just to align the intake properly. One stud is in, and the other is not. What is problem? Something is not right. Looks like it was the rear bracket that no one can see. And the second stud is going in. Just a little hand tight, nothing crazy. And this one. All right, and 4 bolts, if I'll find them. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 nuts for the studs. First nut, second nut. Let me try to not lose the bolts. Okay. How about this one? Alright, right in a hole. Alright, I'm gonna try to remember how to route everything here, then I'm gonna tighten the nuts, and the most fun part gonna be those 2 bolts for the rear brackets for the intake. I just simply wanted to show you that it's not an easy job to put the bolt into the rear bracket with bore scope. I'm not talking even without it. So I'm kind of trying to reach the engine from the back side, and so this is the bolt that you cannot hold on, I guess the battery is dying. So the bolt is even hidden behind this wiring loom, and I can just feel it with the fingers. And this wiring loom is kind of stiff. It's good that bolt is you know, going pretty easy. And so this bracket got 2 bolts. So this one that I was just you know, putting back together, and one more on the other side of the bracket, but I won't tighten it right now because I need to First of all, I need to torque those bolts so the intake sits properly, and then I'm gonna tighten the bolts in the back. If I'm not mistaken, the torque for the bolts for the upper intake manifold is 84 inch-pounds. So I'm gonna start from the center, and I'm gonna equally try to tighten those first without providing much torque. I'm still not clicking the torque wrench, just trying to apply equal or balanced amount of torque. Click, 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 click. Come on. And now for the last clicks, the nuts on the side. I do not see my 10mm socket right here. Click. Click. All right, and now I'm gonna secure or tighten those pesky bolts that holds the brackets, support brackets for the intake. Ah, it's gonna be fun. I can feel it already. Borescope camera is your huge friend. Alright, the first bolt is, come on, let it go, oh, let it go, back up, yes. Okay, this bolt is done. Now I'm gonna need to reposition the camera to find second bolt, which is this one. All right, hopefully this is the one right here. Let me try to dive in there and I'm not sure if I'll be able to manipulate such a big wrench on that bolt. There is the AC line right above, and it's a little bit too large of contraption. Maybe the 1/4-inch drive gonna help me out. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do it without articulating head. Oh, that's, hold on, that's all incorrect right here. Yeah, easy. Yep. Done. Whew. Now I need to make sure I connect this connector back and this connector back here, and I need to make sure to connect the brake booster in the back of the intake, and there is the clamp. I'm gonna have to use the pliers somehow. And I'm gonna clean the throttle body just a bit since we're here already. Opened it. There is little build up. I think, yeah, you can see, I think the idle should improve after that slightly, because I could even feel that ridge of a build up. Okay, throttle plate and the upper side as well. You cannot see it, but I can feel this ridge, and I can see it even. All right, much better now. I'm gonna install the throttle body back in place. Yeah, there was one bracket there in the bottom, and those are the bolts. Is there the, yeah, the gasket is still there, all good. Where's my electrical ratchet? I'm gonna tighten it with a small ratchet. Don't want to over tighten it. All right. I don't know, maybe before I go any further, maybe to flush it with the water, maybe not, maybe flush it after, I don't know, maybe after. Okay, I think that's fine too. I'm getting ready to check and adjust transmission fluid temperature, and the range to do that is between 35 and 45 degrees Celsius, or 95 and 113 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're like 3 degrees Celsius away from the, from the window we can check the transmission fluid. So once we're gonna reach this 35-degree window, I'm gonna open this drain plug, and I'm gonna be draining transmission until it's gonna start to simply dribble from there. So we're still at 3187, so it's probably gonna be like another 5 minutes or so. We just hit 35 degrees Celsius, so we have 10-degree window to check the transmission level, and I'm gonna carefully undo the fill, or actually drain plug, and I'm gonna be waiting until it's gonna start to pretty much just to drip. And I already replaced this gasket, washer, crush washer, so it's brand new. Okay, it started to kind of dribble, and that's the sign we can seal the plug, and that's it. I'm gonna tighten it, and transmission service is completed. There are a couple more little things I wanted to address under the hood, besides the clogged drain holes. So those are the filter. That's the old, what was it, Toyota Denso filter, the old number 17801-0P051. Let's see if that's gonna be the same thing, straight from Denso, 143-3012. Alright, 143-3012, and okay, that goes here, that goes here, 1, 2, and this is one more thing I wanted to do. Hopefully it's gonna work out just fine, because that's, I don't know what kind of brand is it, made in Spain, so it's not China, so supposedly it could be good. I wanted to replace this gasket on the oil fill plug. It's like, hopefully I will be able to remove it, because it's like a plastic. It's like a plastic. I can see it spins. Alright. Okay, so let's compare. This is flat and this is the concave side. So the flat gonna be on the top. Okay. Alright, the part number for this one is 00519-100. Looks like it. And as another final touch, I am replacing the rear brakes, because the pads, the inboard pads are pretty much gone, and like they kind of were uneven, really uneven. Not sure why, because the slide pins were totally free. I don't know, but regardless, I went with the Power Stop Z27, I guess, kit, as well as the pads. I adjusted the parking brake from this side, and maybe I'm gonna show you how to adjust it. while I'm gonna be doing the other side. Okay, the first thing we're gonna do is install the wheel chocks. They're gonna go to the very opposite wheel. So we're doing the rear left, they're gonna go under the right front. Okay, I did not apply the parking brake because we're gonna adjusting the parking brake, and it needs to be in a released state. Houston, we have a lift off. All right, and let's add some power. Okay, slightly swollen nuts. Dun, 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 dun. Will it fall or no? Okay. Yahoo! Let's put it under the car just for some additional safety. Okay, and we're gonna install some support, and I'm gonna slightly increase the height to allow one more click, and now I'm gonna lower the car just a hair. Okay, so the car is resting now on the jack stand. Okay, I guess it's like number 14 or 14 millimeter. No, actually wrong side, wrong way. 1, 2. One, 2. Let me remove it, and I'm gonna rest it on the top of this structure. Now I'm gonna take this 17 millimeters socket, and I'm gonna try to that's slightly, you know, it's time for a breaker bar. If I'm not mistaken, it's 24-inch breaker bar, if I can position it here. Ooh. Even with the breaker bar, it's slightly tight. Can I? Slightly tight. Okay, first one is loose. What about the second one? Ooh-wee. Okay. And by the way, the pins are not seized. And by the way, guys, take a look on the brake pads. The inner pad is almost next to the metal. All right. It's too tight for finger wrenching. What now? All right. How was our bearing? No play. It's firm. Good. I wanna clean everything. Finally, I'm using brake link for its like intended purpose. It's a very rare occasion. Okay. Looks like the brake shoes are perfectly fine. Probably like 4 millimeters of usable thread left. So let's go ahead and install the replacement rotor. So the drilled and slotted rotors are typically directional, and so this is specifically set rear driver side. So we have this hole for adjustment of the parking brake, and this hole needs to be aligned with this. This hole needs to be aligned with this indentation on the hub assembly. So it's gonna go just like that, and I'm gonna install the nuts so the rotor sits perfectly flush, like when it's, you know, sits when the wheel is on. And now, let me tighten it. It's perfectly silent because the pads, the brake pads, doesn't touch the rotor inner surface. So I need to adjust how the pads are spread so it's slightly touch the rotor. I'm not sure what way to. Okay, it's starting to engage, maybe just a little bit more. There is almost no drag, it's just a noise. So I would say this is how it's gonna stay for now. I'm gonna take the rubber plug from the original rotor, and I'm gonna cover this hole for the adjustment with this rubber plug. Now we can remove those nuts. Now I'm gonna change my attention to this bracket. I'm gonna remove the old hardware. I'm gonna use the metal brush to clean those contact surfaces. They're pretty clean because I replaced those pads like 3 years ago, so they're still pretty clean from the last time. Okay, let's check the pins. Still got a lot of grease. I'm gonna put a little bit more of a silicone based grease. I'm using this Silk Glide, as I mentioned previously. A little bit inside. You do not need too much grease, otherwise it's gonna be working against you actually. Okay, and one of them has like this rubber o-ring, so this silicone based grease is very important. Otherwise, if you're using the wrong type grease, this rubber ring will expand and is gonna pretty much lock the pin. Maybe it's a little bit too much on the actual stem, but that's fine. Okay, it's got a full range of motion. Good. Now I'm gonna install the hardware. Okay, brand new hardware. Those Sharpie things pointing inwards. And yeah, there are two different kinds of them, by the way. Make sure you see they are directional. Make sure you're using the correct one. Okay. All right. And this goes here. Okay, that part is ready to go. Where are my bolts? So the bolts are going in the same locations, obviously. can't find the hole. It didn't came out good. All right, hole's been found. I'm gonna use the breaker bar, but not crazy. One. And two. That's enough. All right. What are we doing next? Next we can actually squeeze the piston back. I'm gonna be using the old pad and the calipers. Be careful, so you kind of squeeze it evenly without any what I wanted to say, without it being crooked. I guess that. Okay. I don't like how the rubber is being probably like in some not very far future. This would be a good idea to rebuild or change the rubber seals on those calipers, because the rubber is getting tired. But it's gonna be fine for now. I was able to fold this, rubber boot back in place, and looks like we're on a good track. I'm gonna apply some brake quiet thingy. Let me apply it right here onto the edge of the piston very carefully. Just a bit. Just on the edge, maybe a tiny bit more. Okay, where's the? I'm gonna use this shim as well. Of course, I need to drop it. Okay, now the following step. Now to the next step. So make sure your hands or gloves are clean, so you do not want to contaminate the contact surface of the pads. Find your hardware for the pad, and we're gonna install this thingy that gonna alert you once the pad is low. It's gonna be contacting the rotor and making like this squealing sound. So make sure you properly align it. So this sharp pointy edge is supposed to be towards the brake rotor. And if we're talking about Sienna rotors that are typically for the rear wheels are towards the back of the car, those shims supposed to be going to the bottom of the caliper, because yeah, to the bottom of the caliper. Just come on. Oop. Stay in place. Did I install it? I installed this one incorrectly. It's supposed to go to the bottom of the bottom of the. All right, and that's gonna go right here, just like that. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use this stop squeal thingy again, and I'm gonna put it on the contact surface right here and right here. And I'm gonna leave it for I don't know, 5-10 minutes to slightly dry, and then we're gonna put the caliper over the pads. Okay, it passed a few minutes, so I'm gonna carefully align that thing, hopefully find the bolts. Okay, I found one at least. And the second one. This is the 14 millimeters. Nothing crazy in terms of the torque, just tight. Okay, and I'm gonna we're gonna use some brake clean to get the residuals, maybe from some grease I was using or whatever. And I would like to remove this sticker. Okay, we are done with that part. The next thing I would like to do is apply anti-seize on few surfaces. For example, this one. this is where the hub, or the brake rotor in this case, touches the wheel, and it's gonna prevent the wheel being seized on the hub. And the most critical part is this one. Maybe just a slight bit too much, but it definitely won't hurt. So wheel goes back in place. I'm gonna pump the brake pedal a few times so the piston gonna extend, because otherwise we may drive right straight into the car. And that's gonna conclude the replacement of the almost conclude, because I'm still gonna need to adjust the emergency brake pedal, because I released all the tension from the cables in order to properly adjust this adjuster. I'm gonna jack the car slightly higher so I would be able to get the jack stand out from the car, and I'm gonna install the wheel back in place, but I won't lower the car yet. So the reason for me not wanted to lower the car is because I need to control how I adjust the cables for the emergency brake. So this is the pedal right here. Maybe it's a little bit too bright. And then that. Hold a second. Press it. And right now in the center of the screen you can see the nuts that actually controls the tension of the cable. It's been a long time since I adjusted the parking brake on this car, but if I'm not mistaken, the procedure was the follows. First of all, you adjust the shoe brakes, as we did with you already, and the wheel supposed to turn pretty much freely. You can hear the sound, but it doesn't prevent it from turning fairly freely. The way the pedal is being adjusted properly is when it's released, you can see how the wheel rotates freely, but on the one click, just one click, I shouldn't be able to rotate, or at least very barely with a hand. So that means the wheel is properly, or handbrake is properly adjusted. Maybe I'm gonna squeeze a couple turns more, because I was able to rotate it right now, but it was pretty hard. So I think it's about right as it is already. But let me okay, this is can you see anything? I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me make sure the wheel still spins freely, and it is. And one click, just one, maybe slightly more. Whew. You definitely don't want to overdo it, because you're gonna overheat the rotors and possibly the pads. Okay, making sure it spins freely. One click. Still can spin it. Okay, couple more turns. It looks like I am all done with the adjustment, so it still spins freely when released, and on one click I wasn't be able to freaking do it even with two hands. So I'm gonna put this locking nut. Hold on, guys. Can you see anything? I'm gonna hold one nut with the wrench and another with the ratchet. I'm gonna hold one nut with the wrench. I'm gonna lock the other one with the ratchet. And as the final touch, I just replaced those two connectors. You can see them. They have a push pins now again. Bought them from Rock Auto, and let me show you what I got. This is the UPC code for them. I'm not sure what the part number was, or maybe this one. Yeah, S3291. All right, so yeah, there we go. The main job, whatever I wanted to complete, is done, and it's gonna be good for another, I don't know, 5 years or so. And this gonna conclude this maintenance cycle for this 2011 Toyota Sienna. It's been a lot, along with the brakes, probably $1,300 all around, maybe even slightly more, but it's gonna be good for the next few years, and I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with it. I drove this car for 13 years, and from one point I think it's time to let it go, but from another side I just invested quite a lot of money, and I can squeeze few more years from this van. So you guys can let me know what you think I'm supposed to do with this van. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next videos. Take care.